In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time and into the future. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think, in Amen we continue forward forever. I'm going to greet you all in the universal term of our Mentellian brothers and sisters, our Mentellian Amenite brothers and sisters, Menzeka Aminun. Good evening, I am your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is Mentellect Radio. And tonight, we're going to speak on why the year 2000 was really the end of the world. Why I say the year 2000 was the end of the world is because when the year 2000 came in, there really was no more intelligence to be given to the world. There really was no true mental upgrades, no real technology to be given to this world, no reprogramming, no mental reprogramming of the people who are of this world, who are of this matrix, who are of this society and all other societies on the planet Earth, all other governments on the planet Earth. What do I mean by this? I mean, if you notice, we're 17 years into the new millennium, 2017, and you still got people talking about last millennium things. You got people talking about last millennium movements. They're talking about last millennium belief systems, everything. There's nothing new to be given in this millennium. Now, I know a lot of people will sit up here and say there's nothing new under the sun, but as I said before, and I pointed out, that when the 20th century came in, you saw the advent of TVs, radios, computers, airplanes, cars. You saw the advent of all of this technology and this new intelligence that came in the 20th century. Now we're 17 years into the new millennium, and there's nothing. You saw the advent in the 20th century of new philosophies and new ways of thinking that came in, right? And now, like I said, we into the 21st century, and you still hear the same old stuff. Same old stuff. Same technology that they're trying to repackage and put out. Same belief systems, same philosophies that are being repackaged and put out, given somewhat different names and reintroduced to the public, right? And when you see things like this taking place, it's usually a sign that you've reached the end. There's no more that can be given to the people. They've been upgraded, to the highest level they can be upgraded to. And when I say they've been upgraded to the highest level, I mean that the elites, the ones within the government who program you people in the submental level, parcel you out your information, be it science, be it philosophy, whatever they parcel out to you in your educational systems, they have reached their limit. They've reached the end of their program. So now they're trying to roll you back into a curriculum of circular philosophy and mentality, the things that they gave you in the last millenniums. Like I said, you can check with each millennium came the advent of new technology, new ways of thinking with each millennium. So what does this millennium bring 17 years in? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You hear them talking about things from the 20th century still. This should be a time of great technology, new ways of thinking, advanced ways of thinking, but you're not hearing it. You're not seeing it. The only thing they'll say, the social media thing kicked in, which was like Facebook and all this other stuff. But that really doesn't count. That really doesn't count as any big form of technology. Right? Doesn't really count as that. Internet radio is a kick on just regular radio, terrestrial radio. Just somewhat computerized upgrades of technologies that were already in existence from the last millennium. What is new? What is the new thing that's in the mouths of the people? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That means that the elite have hit the end point. They cannot program the people any further. Because make no mistake about it, the things that are coming out of the majority of the people's mouths on the planet are all programmed for you to say. You're programmed to think what you think. You're programmed to think within the limitations in which you think. You're programmed. You're not thinking of anything new. You're not doing anything new. You're speaking about last millennium philosophies and ways of thinking. Nothing new you're bringing forward. It's not like the last millennium where a lot of new things were brought forward. There were plenty of new things that came from under the sun and into this atmosphere that was new to the people, but now you don't see it anymore. You watching people repeat scripts from 20 years ago. Black power, black revolution. We were saying that 20, 30, 40 years ago. Where's the mental upgrade? Where's the mental upgrade? You hear the same, that you see women marching and doing all kind of stuff, protesting. They was doing that 40 years ago. Women's lib movement, women's rights, all this stuff is back. All of these movements that the white man started, as a way of creating a social experiment in society 40 years ago. The same movements, the women's movement, the Black Revolution movement. These are the same movements, the white supremacist movement. These are all buttons that they're pushing to restart or get all of these old philosophies stirred back up and pushed into the public. Because make no mistake about it, one group of people are controlling all of these philosophies, the technologies, the way they're coming out, the science things is being written. Now they pushing flat earth again. They pushing the flat earth. People came from monkeys. They pushing all of this again. They doing all this all over again. All this stuff is last millennium stuff. Where's the new knowledge? Where's the new philosophy, the new way of thinking? Where's the new science? Where's all this new stuff at? They're not doing anything new into 21st century. They're just rehashing old ways of thinking from the last millenniums. And just like a bunch of puppets, just like a bunch of people who are in the matrix, black, white, and everything in between, you're all being programmed to say these same things over and over and over again. There's no new thought, no new thought process. That proves that you've reached the end. That means that the year 2000 was the end. When people are not bringing forth new tones, new frequency, new transmission, new knowledge, new everything, new technology, they're not bringing that forward in a new millennium, which is supposed to be 100 years, that have passed. When they're not bringing that forward, that's a sign that you've reached the end. So when they kept talking about Y2K, right, when the computers were shut down, see, you really didn't understand what they were saying by that. You really don't understand when they say in television original programming, what that really means. That means that they were giving you programming that was revamped. They're giving you programming in your education system that's revamped. They're saying the same thing over and over and over again. Even this attacking of the Indians is contrived and programmed. They're talking about building the wall to keep the Mexicans out that Donald Trump is talking about. It's contrived and built all over again. All of the same stuff they was talking about back in the early 19th century. Talking about the beef between the Mexicans. This is all the same thing. This conflict with the Arabs, they was talking about this in the 60s and the 70s. This is all rehashed stuff. These are all conflicts, old wounds that they are reopening to buy time. What do I mean by that? They're trying to buy time. The elites who control in this society are trying to buy time to get their system set up on Mars and to keep the people programmed or reprogram the people on old ways of thinking, old philosophies, old ideologies, because without the elites programming the people mentally, controlling and programming these people to think think on a certain level, believe in certain things, you people would be lost. You people would be lost. You could not function. A lot of you who are plugged into the matrix, you couldn't function. You couldn't think without the programs that these people give you in their education system, in their so-called scientific books, and their philosophies that you follow, and their religious beliefs they dull out to you through Islam, Christianity, Israelitism, Judaism. It's all this stuff, and their political philosophies, their revolutionary nonsense, their black revolutionary nonsense. All of this comes from Caucasian people. All it comes from the elites that control the society. And they do this as a way to keep the cogs moving in society. You represent the cogs, the wheels in society that turn to keep this going. They use this oil, which is controversy, to keep you stirred up, to keep you protesting, to keep you marching. Like I said, this is why they do certain things to create conflict, right, amongst the races, black and white. They'll tell certain police officers in certain areas to kill black people so that they can start protesting again like y'all was doing in the 60s. All this is a rerun. You're not doing anything new. They put these civil rights leaders out there, right, to play their part. Al Sharpton is the new Martin Luther King. Jesse was the Martin Luther King of the 70s and the 80s. Al Sharpton picked it to the 90s and to the 2000s. So they just rehashing all of this stuff and rehashing these people. They're recasting these people and pushing them out in front of you because they really have nothing to give the people anymore. They have nothing to raise the people on anymore. They restarting all of these movements. It's no coincidence that you've seen the Black Panthers restarted. It's no movement. It's no coincidence that you've seen the Moors being pushed forward in the 1990s and the 2000s again. Why the Moors got reenacted in the 80s and the 70s, you wouldn't hear nothing about the Moors. Now all of a sudden they pop back up in the 90s and the 2000s. Somebody's doing this. You're going to see the 5%ers getting pushed out in the forefront again. All this is being controlled and contrived and pushed forward to keep you spinning in the circle of revolution and rotation and regurgitation. So there's no new evolution for you. You're not even looking for it. You think it's just a normal thing to keep going in circles, doing the same thing over and over again, to keep protesting and marching and police brutality. I was doing that in the 60s. All these things you were doing already. This is done for a reason. This is all controlled. This is all controlled. You understand? This is all laid out for you to follow. Because if you start thinking beyond this, if you start saying, I'm tired of this, I want to see something new happen, then you're going to start to think past these people, and they can't afford that. They can't afford to have you thinking past the elites, the ones who are programming and been programming this society for the last 400 to 500 years. They've been programming everything in this society, from the books you read to the education you get. They've been programming you from the way you think. So they want to keep that going for as long as they're here, until they can come up with a new program to reboot the machine, to reboot the matrix, to get you all programmed on a new level, which will have a lot of the old curriculum in it, but they'll try to add a few different things to it. It'll be the same thing in rotation. They'll just take a few things and they'll try to add a little bit more new things that they're coming up with. Right? They even went as far as they're reintroducing the Greco-Roman society into this society. If you notice, you're starting to see a lot of young black men wearing blonde in their hair, and they're wearing the Greco-Roman crown of leaves on their head. A lot of people are starting to wear those crown of leaves on their heads, so they're reintroducing that Greco-Roman philosophy into the society through the vegan system, which I brought out before about veganism. They're trying to present a Greco-Roman mentality amongst black and white and everybody here, where you have this new generation of people who are acting like those old sexually ambiguous people back there. See, all they're doing is rehashing and relaunching the same thing over and over again. See, because if you could constantly keep relaunching and rehashing and pushing the same thing out onto the people, then you can control the people. You can control the people. You can control their level of thinking, how far they're going to think, how far they're going to go. You're going to keep them moving in a matrix. You're going to keep them moving in a matrix. They're not going to move past the point in the program that you set for them to follow. They're not going to move past that. You're not going to hear these Negroes stop talking about being black. You're not going to hear them stop talking about black revolution and black power. You ain't going to hear the white people stop talking about white supremacy. They're going to always have that in their mind because it's looped in their mind to think like that. You white people are controlled too by the matrix. You still thinking about white supremacy and you think your white skin means you better than somebody. You're going to die just like everybody else. You understand that? But it's programmed in your head constantly that you're better than everybody else because of your pale skin. And you black people, you're programmed to think that you're lesser because of your dark skin. I don't care how much you claim you don't feel that way, but you do feel that way. You're programmed to think that you're black, that you're African American, that as soon as somebody get killed the quickest, the best thing to do is march. You're programmed like that because you're still doing it. You have not figured out anything beyond that. You have not. Because you're programmed to do exactly what you do. You're programmed to react exactly the way you react. You're programmed to go to school to take up exactly what you take up. Rarely do you surprise anybody with the things that you do. They know exactly what you're going to do and what you're not going to do because they programmed you to do it. Very rarely do you break the character. You don't break the program until they come with some original programming. They're trying to come with original programming right now. They're trying to reboot the machine again. They're going to put out their semi-new version of black people. But in the semi-new version of black people, you're going to be weaker. The men are going to be weaker. They're going to be more effeminate. Right? Way more effeminate than a lot of those black men were in the past who was getting kicked in their ass by the Caucasian men in the South. They want it going back to that period. But they want the young black men to be even more effeminate to the point of being homosexual, to the point where they don't care about whether the white man walking around with your woman or not. You don't care about that no more. To the point you don't even want a woman, period. You want each other. That's the new black man, the new sexually ambiguous black man and black woman that they want to push in society. They want to reboot the black man and black woman by taking the sexual, what was thought to be the sexual prowess out of the black man and black woman and weakening it. Turning it into some sexually ambiguous encounter and some sexually ambiguous outlook that you have concerning one another. That's the new program for black people, the semi-new program, to get you to be like these people, to be like what the elitist programming. All of this is laid out. All of it. You got people trying to be Dr. Francis Cress Welsing all over again. You got these new group of black women out here who are trying to be like the old group of black women, like your Alice Walker and those type of people, you know. The black women who sleep with the white man and sleep with other women as well, like I brought out. They keep reintroducing those kind of black women into society if you don't know it. They reintroduce those types of black women who only sleep with white men and other women, but then they talk about black power and blackness and where they head now. So they reintroducing those kind of black women into society again. They reintroducing the black feminists in, the white feminists. They reintroducing all this. Right? The black revolutionary people, the white supremacists, they reintroducing back in. Everybody's being assigned their roles in the new millennium to play, which is a rehashing of the old. Very rare is anybody going to be a new arrival, a new mind, one who is going to exceed the expectations and the limitations of the people that program the machine and the people that program the curriculum. You are educated to a certain level to play your role in society. That's why when I hear certain people talk, this younger generation, I already know what you're going to say before it even comes out of your mouth. I already know what you're going to say because you're programmed to say it. Like you already know the people in the conscious community, their favorite word is semantics. That's their favorite word. And they all usually metaphysicians and stuff like that. So, it's all programmed for them to be that way. The very people that are lecturing to you are programming you by way of the beast. The beast is using a lot of your black conscious speakers to program you. Because once they see that these Negroes have a following or somewhat of a semi-following, they get taken under the wing. and they all get introduced to metaphysics, spirituality, esotericism, and they all introduce it to you to have you like those Negroes was in the 60s, right? Those space outs in the 60s, those guys who spaced out, to get you like that, to get you focused in a rotation of spiritual nonsense. No real focus, no real direction, no real evolution, no real extension of the higher self, no real nothing, just constant rotation, constant revolution, a constant regurgitation of the same things that they programmed you with in the first place. I said in my class, I said it's scary to know that you're not thinking for yourself. None of your thoughts are really your own. The thoughts that you have in your head are being programmed for you and by you. So when people saw Nuben Menkarayzz talking about Mentellect and the bright race, that was totally out of the norm. That's why I said the Republic of Mentellect is a totally new community and movement that is straight out of the 21st century and beyond. Has nothing to do with the 20th century at all. And a lot of that, it bugged the minds of the people out, because the very first thing people are used to saying is, oh, where did that come from? Where'd you get this from? They're looking for you to link it back to something in the 20th century. But then when you have nothing to link back to the 20th century, they don't know how to react to it, because everything out of their mouths is 20th century and back. They don't have anything 21st century and going forward. Nothing these people say in the conscious community is new millennium stuff, 21st century and forward, going forward. There's none of this is future thinking. And future thinking is advanced thinking. Future thinking is independent thinking, where you're not just reading something from some white person, you just repeating what you heard, or reading something from some black person in the last millennium who got it from a white person in the last millennium, and repeating that and saying you're a part of that. What are you? What are you? Answer, you're nothing. If you're telling me about black revolution, black power, Africa, African American, you just saying, you repeating the script from the last millennium that black people was talking about. You should be saying, having something new coming out of your mouth. You should have something new, extension of yourself coming out. A new way of thinking should be coming through you as a new millennium people. But I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I don't hear it because you are programmed into the matrix to keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. The people, your teachers, are programmed to say the same thing over and over and over again. They're programmed. They're programmed to read from the script, which is a repeat, which is a regurgitation of the old, of the past. They are programmed to say exactly what they're supposed to say, and the program has come to an end. The program and the data in the program, which is fed through your televisions, fed through your radios, fed through the internet, fed into the air, the program has come to an end. Program you any further. They can't program you any further. So now they're just scrambling to program and put something else on, or send something else out that they were doing in the last millennium. And that's what you're seeing right now. That's why, if you notice, whenever you talk to an average black person, white person, whatever, everything they say is just contrived and made up fake news. Notice all this stuff they got in here. They have to create fake celebrities. They have to create fake news. They have to create fake people for you to have an interest in, both black and white. This internet and this YouTube, they use this to create a bunch of fake celebrities. YouTube celebrity, they created the TV reality star. They had to create fake people for you to talk about, people who were famous for doing absolutely nothing. They did that because they had no other people that were interesting enough to push in front of your face for you to take interest in. A person that could, they could utilize to guide the women to do a certain thing, or be a certain way, to guide the men to be a certain way, or think a certain way. See, because in the 60s, they had certain black people that they used just like they had certain white people, right? In the 60s and in the 50s and the 60s, well, the 60s they had like people like Sidney Poitier, right? In the 70s they had Richard Roundtree, right? And them guys from the 70s, they had certain people that they put out there that black men followed, certain women that they put out there that black women followed, certain white people they put out there that white people followed, certain white women that they put out there that white women followed. So they was trying to create what you call role models for you to follow. They were creating role models. Now they don't really have any role models. So they got to create them through reality TV. They got to make up people. They sit up there and come up with a personality for people that you will follow, that you will take an interest in, that you will be talking about. And through that conversation, they're programming you. They're programming you to have fake conversations about fake people and fake things. Like you'll sit up here, a lot of you will sit up here and spend an hour talking about love and hip hop. You'll spend an hour talking about love and hip hop. You'll spend an hour talking about Basketball Wives or whatever the hell reality show they put on. They put these shows on so that you can talk about them, so that you can sit at work or sit on the phone or sit and talk about these things. And while you're doing that, it is keeping you preoccupied. It's keeping you preoccupied because they know that eventually a huge transmission of new intelligence, new knowledge is going to come through here, and it's going to come to a chosen people, and there's going to be a massive surge in uplifting and synergy, mental uplifting and synergy that's going to push a new people into a new mindset and their children. It's coming through here. And the white man knows it, the elites know it, and they don't want you to have it. They know that a huge mental upgrade, a huge transmission of higher intelligence is coming through here. Higher transmission is coming through here to raise a group of people up to another level, to transmit to them, to raise to another level. That's going to give them ideas. That's going to put them in the forefront of everybody on earth. And those people that are slated to get it are the so-called black race, or at least an elite few within the so-called black race. And they know it's coming, and there's nothing they can do about it. So what they're trying to do is get you to not pay attention to it, to get you to have your focus elsewhere, to get you focused on something else totally different, to get your mind connected to something else so that you don't receive this new transmission, the transmission that sent all of this knowledge to the planet in the last millennium. When the 20th century came in with the computers, the knowledge, the idea for the computer, the knowledge for the computer came here, the television, the radio, the movie screen, all this technology came here that the Amen beings actually sent here. The technology that's on the planet is their old technology. All the technology that you have here, they had first. That's their old technology that they were just sending here. Their hand-me-down technology, they're sending it here. They had Facebook first. They had televisions first. They had movies first. They had all this stuff first. And they're handing it down to all of us. They had all this already. This is nothing to them. You ain't going to have nothing that the creators of this world didn't have first. You're not going to have nothing. You're not going to think of anything that they didn't think of first, that they didn't give you. You understand? They gave it to you. You didn't think of anything. I don't care if you black, white. I don't care how intelligent you are, how smart you think you are, how much of a genius. You ain't think of a damn thing that wasn't given to you, because you can't even tell how you got here. So how the hell you think any ideas you came here that you came through you was original? They wasn't original. They were given to you from someplace else, because they figured it was time for you to have these things here on earth. They figured it was time for you to have a telephone, to have a TV, to have a radio, to have all of these things, these forms of transmission to get back and forth to one another. They gave it to you. the ones who created this. But you simple-minded Negroes sitting up here talking about, you using the white man's technology. Y'all sound stupid as hell. There's no white man technology. There's no black man technology. There's only things that these beings have sent to this planet and used certain people to bring them forward. But you can't see that. You can't see that. Just like you can't see that the year 2000 was the end of the program. That's what the end really meant. The end of the world meant the end of the program. That meant that the elites can no longer program the people as effectively as they could in the last millennium. They can't program the people anymore. So they're scrambling, coming up with new programs, new transmissions, new submental transmissions to send out to the people to keep them in a trance, to keep them in a trance-like state, to say the same stupid things over and over and over again. You ever talk to the people who you call your friends? You ever speak to them and you hear them saying the same stupid things that you heard on TV? They say the same dumb things over and over and over again. You be like, damn. It's to the point you don't even want to talk to them anymore because the conversation is really simple-minded. I tell you, they create things like this. They create controversy with a Donald Trump just to have something for the people to talk about. They do it just to have something for the people to talk about, to have something to catch your interest, to control your level of thinking. They do. It's all of this. All of this is a setup. All of it. Police brutality, the elections, white supremacy, black inferiority, black power, white power. It's all a setup, man. All of it. The elites put all of this into effect just to have something for you to talk about, just to have something for you to be outraged about, just for you to have something to put your attention and focus on. It's all a setup just to keep you away from that transmission that's coming to the planet, that's coming from beyond the sun, that's being sent into this atmosphere, onto this planet to elect people to raise them up past the current group of people who are in power. They already know it's coming. They know it's coming. The elites, the Illuminati, they know it's coming. They know it's coming. And there's nothing they can do about it. All they can do, because they know when that transmission does hit here and those people do wake up and it goes to that elite, that elect, they're going to remember what you did. And there's going to be judgment. They're going to remember all the things you did, how your people were responsible for this racism on the planet, how your people were responsible for starting these wars, the racism, everything. They're going to remember everything you did. And then y'all going to be judged. And they're going to have the power to do it. They're going to be given the power to do it. They're going to be given the power to shift everything on this planet when they come to power. See, when the elect come to power, when they're chosen and they unplug from the matrix and the system and they roll past 2000 and they roll past your limited transmission, your submental transmission that you are working in a rotation through the people on this planet, through the simple-minded, blind, deaf, and dumb people on the planet, they're going to come to power, and you already know it. They already know what I'm saying. When that happens, just as at one point in time our people sat in power, and they didn't think that nothing would ever take them out of power, and then your people were raised up into power. Same thing's going to happen again. Only this time, it's going to be the elect, the chosen people, the 144,000. That's coming. That's coming. And they're trying to stand in the way of that, because they know once that happens, then they're going to be judged. And they're not going to like the judgment. They're not going to like the sentence. This is all coming. The new must overthrow the old. The new must overthrow the old. The new must replace the old. That's the law of everything in existence. The so-called black race ain't bringing nothing new. The black race got to go and the white race got to go. And see, the elites already know that. That's why they're trying to introduce the mixed race. They're trying to introduce the mixed race people because they know the white race is finished in the new world. They know the black race is finished. So they're trying to finish off the black race, and they're trying to introduce this neutral race. They're trying to introduce something new into the time frame of the 21st century because they're being pressured to introduce something new. Because if they don't introduce something new, they're going to be moved off of their mark. They're going to be moved off of their mark if they don't introduce something new. They're being charged to bring something new forward or open the door for something new. And the only thing they really trying to do is trying to stall for time. They're trying to stall for time. All the efforts and the functions they're putting in, that's to be set up on another planet. That's to be set up on Mars. They're putting all that energy into Mars, into setting up things there. They're going to start the year 1 going forward on Mars. And as they are keeping the people focused on this false reality, like I said, the reality shows, mindless entertainment, things like that, mindless music, while they're keeping you focused on these things, they're restarting and rebooting life on Mars. Life that once existed, they're finding and they're rebooting on Mars. They're looking to get that fresh start there. And they're getting it. So they're going to tear apart this planet, right? And try to reintroduce certain things in the destruction of this planet so that they can create something new there. Something new in that world. Because this world has come to an end. They don't know where to take this at. They don't know where to go. Where does this go from here? Because in the new picture, they don't exist. They don't exist. So what they're going to do is they're going to leave a remnant of themselves here through the neutral race that they're going to control. They'll leave a remnant of themselves here. This is how they'll be able to keep a foothold in. But as things are running right now, the whole white supremacy thing, it's not going to be able to stand up going forward into the 21st century. This is why Donald Trump kept saying, we're going to make America great again. He's trying to relaunch that whole thing. But it's a farce. They're not going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to re-push white supremacy again. They're trying, but they're not going to be able to do it. That's just to buy time. They told Donald Trump to push this white power, white supremacy, putting up walls and doing it. It's all done to create conflict, to get you looking one way while they doing something in another direction. They distract you to buy time. How do you buy time? By causing a distraction. You kill a few black people, right? You send somebody into the church like Dylan Roof to shoot up the damn church, kill black people. That's no different than the damn bombing they did in 1963 at the Church of the Black Girls, blew up the church. It's the same thing over again. You understand? To get black people to focus. Oh, it's racist. To get the Mexicans. Oh, it's racist. Put up that wall. Keep the Mexicans out. Oh, you Arabs can't come over here. All this is done. All this is a plan to get everybody focused on race. To get everybody focused on race. While the culprits who are engineering these things for the new millennium are buying time because they really don't want you to see that they have nothing else for this here. There's no plans. There's no plans. Their plan is to leave. Their plan is not to extend you because they don't have the extension to give you. They don't have it. They don't have the reprogramming to educate you anymore. They don't have the reprogramming to control you mentally like that anymore. They don't have it. They don't have anything new to give you. All they can do is give you the old stuff, a rehashing of the old stuff. All they can do is create situations, create drama, create circumstances for you to focus on. That's all they can do. The program is failing. They're not even going to be able to reboot the computers. They tell you the computer's crashing and stuff like that and Y2K. That's what all that meant. Because the biggest thing they worried about was not the fact that you wouldn't get your government checks. They wasn't worried about that. They were more worried about, well, if these computers shut down, then, our satellites is linked to this, the televisions, the radios, all the stuff that we use to keep the people programmed with in a massive number. If that shuts down, then they might start actually thinking for themselves. It might be chaos. They might start thinking for themselves. They might start pulling in that transmission that's coming to the planet. They might start getting ideas. So we have to keep them entertained. We have to keep them in the rotation of ritual. We have to regulate them. We have to regulate their thinking. That's all they were really worried about. They didn't care about, these checks ain't going to come. Then that's a part of it, because they know to keep you people civil, they got to send out your checks to you. They got to make sure your television shows is on, your movie channel is on, you got your food at the supermarket, and their computers keep that going. Their computers keep all of that going. They keep the system going. They feed the program into the system. But once that stops, once they have nothing to feed the computer to continue forward, then they got to start feeding the computer made up things, made up facts, made up computations for you to get into your satellites. They have to tell their writers and the people that are programming the computer to look at the things that we were saying in the last millennium. Look at the old television ideas, look at the old radio shows, and just relaunch those. Look at the old philosophies we taught. Take it back 500-600 years if you have to, and just call it something else and reintroduce it. Just so they can keep these people together. Just so they can keep these people mentally together, just so that you don't start thinking for yourself, because that's a threat. That is a threat. They cannot have you thinking for yourself. They cannot afford to have you thinking for yourself. You understand that? They cannot afford to have you thinking for yourself. They cannot afford to have you moving forward as a new people, so they'd rather keep you being black people. They'd rather keep you being black people. They'd rather keep you talking about black power and white supremacy, the things you were talking about in the last millennium. They'd rather do that. They'd rather have you talking about these things rather than to think past these things and to work past these things. They want you to constantly keep talking about it. Because once you start thinking past it, then you're starting to move out of the matrix. You're starting to move out of the matrix. You're starting to think about a time without them. And they don't want that time to be yet. They know it's going to come soon where you're going to think of a time that they don't exist, and you're going to think past them, and their order is no longer going to stand, but they don't want it to be right now. Just not right now. So they've enlisted certain people who you think are here to help you, but are actually here to work against you. Think about it the next time you hear somebody talking about black power, black revolution, Pan-Africanism, red, black, and green, right? Think about that next time they start talking like that. Because that's not going to help you, because y'all was talking like that in the last millennium. Think about it next time they're talking about Moorish science and are you going to get your sovereignty and this, that, and the third. Think about, are these people really here to help you or to hurt you, to constantly keep talking about things that are unrealistic in your evolution? How is talking about the same things in the last millennium that you didn't do or get done or accomplish, talking about these things and trying to take action and move in that direction going to help you today? These people are leading you into a circle purposely, as they are being directed to do by the elites, by the Illuminati. They're getting these people to lead you in a revolution. The same people that started back up the new Black Panther Party when the old Black Panther Party was not effective. Who's paying these people? Who's putting up this money to start these things up, to keep the people in a rotation, black, white, and everything in between, so that you do not evolve as people? Because the plan is not for you to evolve. The plan is not for you to evolve until they are going out of here. Until they are safely on Mars and out of here, and they got the mixed race neutrinoids and the neutral race people here in control to take care of or pick up where they left off at. Because that's really the plan, to introduce these people into society, while y'all up here arguing over black and white and everything in between, Mexican, this, that, and the third. The elites are about to launch in the new millennium the neutral race. That's their contribution to the next generation, to the 21st century. That's their new thing under the sun, which is really not new, but they're trying to make it appear as though it's new, because they're going to add all the races together. They got you doing all of this, looking at that, and looking at all the things that you were concerned about in the last millennium, so that you don't see what they're doing now in this millennium. So that you're not able to see it. So that you're not able to pick it up. And you're not going to be able to pick it up. You're not going to be able to pick it up. You're not going to see it coming. You can't see it coming right now. They're bringing all this stuff back for a reason. To stagnate your growth. So that you don't realize that the leash is actually being taken off of your mind. One of the ways of lifting the leash is by putting intellect out. That was one of the ways of lifting the leash, to take it off of the minds of our people. When I said the bright race, that was meant to get you to think, damn, the bright race, what is that? That was meant to get you to think that way. What is the bright race? What is this brother talking about? We ain't black. What is he talking about? That was meant to get you to do that, to get you to start thinking. Thinking past black. Thinking past African. Thinking past the things that they told you were in the last millennium that limited you and got you thinking in a circle, got you thinking in the matrix. It was meant to push you past that into a straight line. But a lot of y'all ain't going to want it, because you've been programmed not to want it. You've been programmed to think that anything past the circle isn't real, when the things inside of the circle are what's actually not real. The things that they've given you, black, African American, black power, white supremacy, black power, all this other stuff. The stuff they introduce with the Arabs and the Muslims, that's not real. It's fake. All right, we're back. We're going to take a call. 276, you're on air. Hello? 276. 276, you're on air. Okay, 276, I hear nothing from you. All right.
I'm here.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Call back, 276. Call back. I'll take your call again. I didn't hear anything from you. All right. Sorry, I had to hang up on you. Call right back. We're back. And, again, the year 2000 was the end of the programming. That's really what it meant, the end of the world. Because when every government starts out, it starts out with a form of propaganda on the people. It is enacting a form of propaganda on the people to control the way of thinking of the people. And the propaganda that has been unleashed on the people here in this society and all other societies is running out. So when that happens, it's time for something new. New society, a new movement, a new government, a new movement, new everything. And they know this is coming. I'm going to take a call, 276. I'll try this again. 276.
My apologies. I had the phone laid down. I'm terribly sorry. What I wanted to call is I, too, have had a similar prophecy as what you were describing before you went to the musical interlude. And I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit about the prophecy that what I think we're actually living in the end times. And the world will end in 2036. And money is the root of all evil. And everyone thought we would be implanted with microchips in our hands. No, it is the digital transfer of money that is the mark of the beast. And Donald J. Trump, although not the Antichrist, he is setting a precedent, and it will lead to the final battle of Armageddon, which, in my opinion, is going to be the race war started by he and Mike Pence.
Okay.
But I agreed with everything you said. We are experiencing a systemic dumbing down of a downtrodden electorate. Wouldn't you agree, sir?
Yes, I do.
I was compelled. I have never listened to this before, but I logged on and I said that this is exactly what I have been saying for a decade or more, and it's coming true. And I don't know what I haven't been listening to the entire broadcast. I'm not sure what your religious background is, but if you believe in the final battle of Armageddon, it is coming, and everyone will all be dependent on the billionaires and the elite that you spoke of, and we'll all have our debit cards, and that is the mark of the beast. And we need to keep getting the word out there. We all need to be on the same side.
Okay. Thank you for calling. No problem. Thank you for calling in. Bye-bye. Yeah, that's where it is. That's where it's coming to. It's everybody. Everybody's in the line of control, mental control. Everybody. Black, white, I don't care what race you are. You're all being programmed on some sort of level. Right? Mexican. Everybody here that is within this system. And systems all over the planet. Because, see, this is a natural evolution and progression. You know, there's going to be a change. There's going to be a new system that's set in place, because it was a time when these systems weren't in place. It was a time before there was an America, you know. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be an overthrowing of any governments or people doing a revolution. The Creator is going to bring true evolution to the planet. The Most High God, Amen, is going to bring true evolution to the planet. And everybody knows Amen is the judge and the Most High. Everybody knows that Amen is the true Most High Lord and judge of all things, over all gods and over all devils, over all religions. That's why all the religions seal their prayers with the word Amen. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Jew, Israelite. I don't care what you are. You all say your prayers with the name Amen, because that is a sign that Amen is the Lord over all of your religions, over all your gods and over all your devils. So the question that the gentleman asked me, what religion I am, I have no religion. My reception is the reception of Amen. That is my reception. I don't follow a religion. Religion is last millennium, and it is programmed by the elites that control the society. I follow the reception of Amen. Therefore, I am an Amenite, Mentalian Amenite. I follow the reception of the Lord, the Most High, the true Most High Lord, Amen. And so do my people. We follow the reception of Mentellect for the elected, chosen 144,000 that are coming forward in this day and time. And in this, we know, in this we trust that an evolution is coming. An evolution from the Most High Lord, Amen, to the elect of this world. And it is a message to all that come. You understand? It is a message to all that come, both small and great, rich and poor, free as they say, and those who will receive a mark, the bondmen who will receive marks in their forehead and their hand. Right? And like I said, this was all prophecy. And again, there's always an upgrade on the planet, and man does not control that. Man is simply the instrument of this upgrade. You have the Most High, those on high who control this, the judge, and the judge makes the judgments on when the evolution is to take place in the world. There are many gods and many devils, but only one Lord. One Lord is the judge that decides when these upgrades and when these evolutions are going to take place. And we're in that point and in that stage right now. But your elites are trying to hold that back. They're trying to hold back the fact that the year 2000 was the end. 21st century that they've met with the end, where being that we are in a three-dimensional world, we have come into the three-dimensional time frame of ending. We've come into the three-dimensional time frame of the end. Right? We've come there. We're at this point right now. And the end always means a new beginning. An end always means a new beginning. And we and the people are more afraid of the new beginning than they are of the end. See, because they think at the end of this, the elites, the ones who sit on top and run the society, they constantly could think, oh, well, they're going to reboot the system and the system going to be back up and going again. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's why I said, as much as our people claim they want to, and people claim they want to see an end to this system and this wicked system or kingdom or whatever, they still live in it and they become used to it. And they cannot imagine a world without the system in place where they getting their checks every month, their checks every week. They're going to their jobs. They're doing all the things that they used to doing. They can't imagine being in a world where that is no longer the rule of thumb, where that is no longer the structure that you're following. They can't imagine that. This would make a lot of them go crazy, so they don't even want to imagine a world like this. They don't want to think that a world like this is going to come to pass, that it's going to come to be. But it will. It will. A lot of the people, they want to ignore this. They want to ignore what is actually going on in front of them. Why these interests, these false interests are being created. Why these false news is being created. They're creating false news. They're creating false celebrities, false money, false elections. All of this stuff is false. So that you're having false conversation to talk about. See, because as long as you're talking about false things, fake things that are created by these people on Madison Avenue here in New York, where they have advertising agencies that think up these things, these writers that write the scripts that go into these television shows that you're going to be talking about, as long as you're talking about false things, your mind will never be open to receive the real things. Your mind will never be open to receive the real things, the truth. Because in your mind, what you're talking about is the truth. And it's far from that. The reality that you think you're living in is not real at all. It is a false reality. It is a false reality that was written for you. Like a lot of you women, like I said, you think that a lot of you women think you're lesbians now. A lot of you are who are into this sexually ambiguous mindset. You don't even know that you're programmed to be lesbians. You're being programmed to be lesbians. A lot of your sons are programmed to be homosexuals. You're being programmed to do this. Certain situations and circumstances are programming you. You being programmed to tattoo up your body. You being programmed to smoke all this marijuana you smoking, just like them guys was programmed back in the 60s and the 70s to shoot heroin. They're being programmed to do this. All you have to do is create the situation. All you have to do is create the situation. They was creating that situation back in the 30s and the 20s. And it got to its height in the 60s and the 70s. So they was working on creating that circumstance and that situation for 40 years. The drug abuse, this idea of supremacy, white supremacy. They was working on producing that idea for 300 to 400 years. But like I said, you all live, you eat, you breathe, and you're going to die. Some are going to continue on to a higher level, which separates you from everybody else, and some are just going to remain in the same circle, in the same level. So if they can get you all to remain in the same circle, on the same level, to keep going in the same rotation, then they control you. They control you. If they constantly could keep you focused on persons, place, and possession, and you are not focused on the intelligence, because the intelligence like I said, people say that the intelligence isn't important, but through the intelligence is where your transmission, where your vision of your extended self comes. If there's no intelligence, there is no extended version of you, because where are you going to get the transmission from? Where are you going to get the transmission from if you're not in tune with the intelligence? Where are you going to get it from? Answer, you're not. You're not going to get it. You're going to simply rely on the things that are going on within this society. You're going to rely on that. And you're going to be satisfied with that. And you're not going to look beyond the false things here. You're going to indulge in the false things here. You're going to indulge in the false people that indulge, and you're going to indulge with the false people that indulge in the false things here. You're going to do that. You're going to choose that as an option, and it's not really an option at all. You're going to choose these things as an option. You're going to constantly move in that circle of the false reality. You're going to still believe that you're actually living your life instead of existing. You're going to believe that you're living. That you're living in a world, society that's not even real. That your thoughts, when you wake up and find out that your thoughts are not yourself, and then you wake up and realize who you actually are without the programming, then you're going to see that this world has come to an end. You're going to see who you are when you see who you are, when you find out who you are without the programming, without these ideas, these contrived thoughts and ideas that you have in your head. You're going to find out. You know? You're going to find out how real this is, how real your thoughts are. You're going to find that out. And when you see that there is nothing, you see there's nothing there, when you see that there is nothing that you can extend to based on what you're receiving right now in this society, the news you're getting, the information you're getting, that there's nothing to carry you into an extended version of your higher self, then you know that this world has come to an end. Because each time you reach the end, there should be an extended version of you that is making itself known to you, that is making itself extended by your thoughts that you're receiving. When you're not receiving these thoughts anymore, when you're not receiving them any longer, then you've come to the end. You've come to the end. There's nothing else for you. You've reached the end of the road. They've reached the end of the road when they can't even program you anymore. They've reached the end of the road. So you should see this as a step forward in the right direction, that a lot of you have outlived the Matrix, but right now a lot of you are being rebooted for the Matrix. A lot of you are being rebooted for the system. A lot of you are rededicating yourself to the system because you really don't know how to think outside the system. So you are embracing whatever it is the system is giving to you. You are embracing it. You are accepting the philosophies of this society. You're going to still keep screaming black power, black revolution. You're going to keep doing that. You're going to keep doing that. You're going to still keep talking about black revolution and all this other stuff and black power. You're going to still talk about the same script from the 60s that somebody had to start at the behest of these elites to get you all doing the same thing. Somebody who was charismatic, somebody who was appeared to be powerful to get you to do the same thing. And these people that are doing this are serving the beast. They're serving the elites to slow down your evolution so that you don't realize what's taking place here, what is actually taking place here. You don't realize it. And by the time you realize it, it's going to be too late. By the time you realize it's going to be too late. By the time you realize that people are just moving you in a circle, keep telling you the same thing, feeding you the same thing as a way to slowing you down to keep you from moving forward in the 21st century. I don't care if they black. I don't care if they white. I don't care what color they are, what race they are. They are part and parcel with it. The people that are being pushed in the forefront on YouTube to get you to look at their views on YouTube. When you see these people getting 30 and 40 and 50,000 views, people turning up on the Breakfast Club, people turning up on the damn Vlad TV, that's all to get your attention, to get your mind under control, to get you to focus on a new false interest. That's all that is. Black power, black revolution, Pan-Africanism. Oh, yeah? That's funny at the same time and sad at the same time. Because what do you say to people who don't know when they've come to an end? What do you say to those people? Now, I'm noticing they got a lot of black people taking on the role as the Indians. Right? You see this, they starting up the conflict with the Indians over the Dakota pipeline, right? That's something old, but where they was going through land struggles and whatnot with the Caucasians going back to the last millennium. They'll start these things up with the Indians, start these things up with the Mexicans, start these things up with the blacks, start these things going between the white and the black and all that, because created conflict distracts people. Created conflict distracts people. Laws are being passed, right? Things are being done right in front of your eyes, but you can't really see it because you have distractions. All of you, black, white, and everything in between, you have distractions, and you have the same enemies. You have the same people who are trying to distract you. And they've enlisted people to distract you. They've enlisted people so that you don't know that we've come to the end of the world 17 years ago, and you're 17 years too late. You should have been on another level altogether 17 years ago. See, I got my wake-up call in the year 2000 when I turned 40. Excuse me, when I turned 30, I'm sorry. When I turned 30, I got my wake-up call. I knew the world came to an end, and I knew a new beginning was on its way. And 2 years in, going into the third year, I received the first teachings of what became Mentellect 10 years later. So that was my mental upgrade. That was my mental reboot, and I could never look back to being the same person I was again. You got certain people who are still doing the same thing they were doing in the last millennium 15, 20 years ago, saying the same things. If that's you, then you ought to be ashamed of yourself. If you are saying the same things you were saying 20 years ago, listening to the same people 20 years in who are not going anywhere, who are saying the same things that other people were saying 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that did not help our people, then you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed for yourself, for your children, and for your grandchildren if you're still listening to people from the last millennium who are talking and picking up and regurgitating what other people were saying from the last millennium, and there's no new growth. There's nothing to extend or expand you. Why? Because you have reached the end. You have reached the end. You have come to an end. And these people are not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that you've come to an end, because they're paid to distract you from letting you know that you've come to an end. Because if they tell you come to an end, and at the end of the world, then they're going to be looking for, well, what's next? What's next for us? Since you are a teacher, they ain't got nothing to tell you that's next. Because the white man didn't give nothing to them. They ain't got nothing to tell you. Just like I said, you accept it and you move on. You accept that we've reached the end and move on, then you should start looking for new things. New teaching, new knowledge, new direction, new goal. That's what the Republic of Mentellect was about. And still is. And will continue to be. We've come to a new day. We've come into a new world. We've come to a new break in the circle. 2000 was meant to be your expiration date and the day in which y'all was supposed to be let loose out of prison. But it seems like since the new millennium come in, things have gotten worse for you. They even gave you a black president as something to talk about to slow you down. You've missed 17 years of this new world. 17 years with all the distraction. You know, even the new music, or if you want to call it music, was supposed to be the thing that catapulted people into a new way of thinking, because the music is key. The tone, the frequency, the music is key to catapulting people into a new level of thinking, to open your mind up to receiving new intelligence, new ideas. This is why the elites had to take the music and turn it into garbage. They had to turn everything into gangster rap and turn everything into misogynistic, submental music that they call it R&B, neo-soul, R&B, all this is a bunch of garbage. They had to take it and take the instrumental and the artistic side out, because the tone and frequency of that music opens your mind to receive new thoughts. It opens your mind to receive new transmission. So they had to take control of that music and they had to destroy it. It opens you up. With each time, you know, if you look at the generations back in the 20th century, when music like jazz came in from our people, when soul came in, when all these different musics came in, with each generation, it brought the advent of new ideas. It brought the advent of new ways of thinking, advanced ways of thinking. You had a lot of interesting people pass off the scene who were born in the last millennium, people who opened your mind to higher things, the advancement and the achievement of higher things. And now you see a generation of people who were born either in this millennium or the end of the last millennium, and they are as dull mentally as butter knives. They're dull. They're mentally dense, and they're dead, and they've been programmed to be that way. They've been programmed to be that way, both black and white, and everything in between. They're mentally dense and dull. This young generation here is garbage. But they were created to be garbage. They were created to be garbage. I'm not saying everybody, but the majority of this generation, black, white, and everything in between, is garbage. There is no open mind or advanced mind within this generation of people. They really are representing the last generation in order for a new generation to come forward after them. They really are the last generation. The music is terrible. The conversation is terrible. The focus is terrible. Everything. The mental state is terrible. Everything is bad with these people. It's off. But they were programmed to be that way. They were programmed to think within the circle of limitation. They were programmed to think as afterthoughts of the old generation and exports of the new generation or the new millennium. They were trained to be that way, but they were not supposed to be that way if they were actually evolved on their natural level of evolution. They would have you would have heard more or greater music being brought into the people or brought toward the people today. You would hear it. You would hear a spark of extended mental power and control and the opening of themselves to a new ideal that would spring forward in the 21st century, that would give the 21st century a new reboot, a new revamp. You would hear it. You got a generation who in 21st century, their minds are already garbage by the time they hit 14 and 15 years old. Their minds are already garbage. They've taken in everything that is based in foolishness and stupidity and garbage, and they are destroyed. They're destroyed as a people. We've really reached the end of the line because we're not turning out people, children, who are advanced in their way of thinking, both male and female. You're not turning out those kind of children. You're turning out a bunch of degenerates, a bunch of losers, a bunch of zeros, a bunch of people who are simple-minded, a bunch of people who are programmed within the matrix and are spitting out exactly what the matrix has programmed them to spit out, and they're keeping it rotating with everybody else. Your philosophies, your sayings, your personal mantras or whatever is all controlled by the elites. The biggest one these Negroes got is this YOLO thing. You only live once, right? And they got this simple-minded black woman out here, right, jumping out of airplanes and doing parachutes and stuff like that and doing all kinds of stupid stuff because she believes in YOLO. You only live once. Where's that program from, right? So there's no caution with life. You can go out here and because I heard this lady say this on one of the on Family Feud thing. She's going to talk about she's quick to give up her virginity because you only live once. What's the sense in holding on to that? This is the mentality that's being bred in the people here. A sub-mental and low mentality in both black, white, and everything in between. See, you can't open the people's minds up to anything higher because if you open their minds up to anything higher, then they're going to advance beyond the elites that run the society. So what do? You keep their minds on a sub-mental level so that you can easily program it and control it through your outlets, through your media outlets, through your computers, through your machines. You can constantly keep programming these people. You can constantly keep controlling these people. You can do this. You can constantly get them to talk about nothing. You can have a conversation with somebody in this society now, and you can literally talk to these people. I'm talking about people at a certain age, like maybe 35 and under, and hell, even now it's 40 and under. You can have a conversation with these people, and you can walk away feeling empty as hell by talking to these people, like you got nothing literally from it. It was just like these people were repeating the same thing you heard over and over and over again. It's like in a loop machine. These people just say the same thing over and over and over again. And then after a while, you just like, all right, whatever. You don't even want to talk to these people anymore. You reach the end of your rope. You said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. You said it to yourself. You said, I can't do this anymore. I can't lie to myself. I have to be truthful to myself. Are you really getting anything from this? And if you're not, do you understand why that really is? Because we've come to the end of the world. And if you have not extended yourself by this time, if you have not extended towards your higher self, then you are out of time. You are out of time. If you are in 21st century and you still believe you black, you still believe you African American, you still believe you a Negro, a nigger, or whatever they telling you are, then you stuck in the matrix. If you really think you're still Caucasian, you're white, and all these other things they told you are within the matrix, then you're stuck in time. If you really believe in this Indian thing and whatever is going on in the South Dakota pipeline that was created just to get those people in an uproar and to get them to focus in on the matrix and, you know, being linked into, because, you know, prior to that time, the so-called Indians, they really wasn't even, you know, a lot of them wasn't even really dealing with or into this society like this, so-called Native Americans, but, you know, in order to ensure that these people wasn't going to receive nothing higher because they're not caught in the matrix of the society, in order to ensure that, this is what the whole messing with the Indians thing now is, because they want the Indians emotionally and mentally invested in America. Well, what's the best way to get them to be that way? Oh, we're going to take your land and put some pipelines there. We're going to do some. Well, I'm pretty sure they could have did anything to not do that, but they chose to do that. They chose to do that as a way to keep these people wrapped within the matrix, just like they choose to constantly, ever so often, introduce these black leaders to you, right? These so-called black leaders or these so-called white racist supremacists to you just so they can get your attention. It's all about getting your attention. It's all about throwing you off of your mental progression and your mental evolution. That's what it's all about. And you don't see that. They want to get you wrapped up in the propaganda, right? And the rhetoric that the elites are writing. I don't care if it's black power, black revolution, black whatever, white power, white supremacy, Willie Lynch letter, all that BS. They want you wrapped up in that. and y'all are going for it, hook, line, and sinker. You're still going for it. Now, it's bad enough you went for it the first time in the 20th century. Now you're going for it again in the 21st century. Here we go again. I'm gonna take a call. 323. 323. You're on the air. 323. You're on the air. Going once, going twice.
I'd like to see people take a little breather before they let the game begin.
Okay. All right. I don't know why you people push the button one. When you push the button one, it's like you're calling in to ask me a question. So if you're not going to call in and ask me a question, don't push one. Just listen. Just listen. Simple as that. So the same rotation that you fell for in the last millennium is the same rotation that you're falling for in this millennium. They want you if you can attract your people, if you can get their attention, because through you they can program the people. Through you they can pass out these old messages from the old millennium that kept the people caught up in the matrix. They can use them. They can use them to push black power, black revolution. They'll find anybody who has an audience that they can utilize and work with. It's all about slowing down the people and getting their attention to get them not to realize that we are out of time. We are out of time. We've been out of time since the year 2000. We've come to the end. And that means the door is open for the new beginning, but a lot of people are not going to walk through that door. A lot of people are not going to walk through that door. They are afraid to walk through that door. They are afraid to say, oh, you know what? What if I'm not black? What if I'm not African? What if I'm not African American? What if I'm not Negro, whatever? Now they got the new thing also. Well, it's not even new, it's old. They got you niggas bleaching your skin to be light skinned, to be lighter. They got you Negroes doing that. Y'all was doing that back in the damn 20s and the 30s and the 40s, and y'all still doing this? Now y'all bleaching your skin. They actually got bleaching cream for you Negroes, and they get certain high profile people to do that, to bleach their skin so it will attract other black women to do that foolishness. They got you bleaching your skin. They get little Kim. I'm pretty sure she didn't bleach her skin by herself. They probably paid her and they gave her full all over body bleaching to get you other black women to do that, to look like white women. Because because like I said, the evolution that's coming to the so-called black woman is that you are supposed to be raising into bright women, and you're supposed to be cutting away from religion, cutting away from your slave names and whatnot, and coming into the elect. That's the evolution that's supposed to be coming for the damn black woman. But you're looking for evolution to come from a Beyonce, a little Kim, or one of these pop artists, or whatever foolishness they wasting your time with. You looking for some bright quotes to come from these people. You looking to be in alignment with these people. You still care about what they got to say, even though they got nothing to say. They use Beyonce to put out the whole Black Power, Black Panther thing and whatnot after the Super Bowl, because that's where they want y'all going. They want you Negroes to probably join the Black Panthers or the Moors, or all this last millennium stuff, and they'll take care of the propaganda that they're going to spread in these groups to keep you caught up in them. They'll take care of that. They got you. They got you. They got you. Whatever you need, however much propaganda you need, they got you. They need you back in that circle. They don't want you out the circle for the new millennium. They don't want you realizing that we've run out of time, that the year 2000 really did bring in a new year, new time, new frame of energy. They don't want you to realize that. So, what works? What happens? What works? Well, you can fall away and you can lose yourself in the matrix, which is what a lot of you are going to do anyway, and you have chosen to do. You have chosen to be silent collaborators of the matrix. You have chosen to remain as black people, Negroes, niggers, Nagas, Negroes, whatever you calling yourself. While you white people, you Caucasians have chosen to remain as white people, Caucasians, and all this other stuff you push about yourself. Because if you notice, the white man only got a few names that white and Caucasian. He don't really got no other names to describe himself. He keeps his list short. You got African American, Negro, Black, and all this other stuff. But that's all programmed within the matrix. You're supposed to have that. You're supposed to have that as part of your brainwashing and your programming. All of this is, again, done so that you don't see that the world really has come to an end. And you should be at this point saying, what do I do next? They don't ever want you to start asking, what do you do next? Because then the answer will present itself to you. And they don't want you to have the answer. They don't want you to know what it is to do next without them. They want your next option to be whatever option they choose for you, like it was in the last millennium. They want your option to be whatever it is they choose and lay out for you. They don't want your option to be other. Just like when they give you that list to pick out what race you are, black, white, and other, and all these Native American, you put other, right? And that blows their mind because they want to put you in the box. They want to put you in the box. They want you to keep teaching other. This is real. They want you to keep preaching that you are this and you are that, the things they told you. But you totally throw them when you say you're something else. And then they're going to be like, well, what is that? And so we say the bright race, the mentalians, and it throws them for a loop. They don't know what to say. When they're asking, they say, well, you know, do you invite white people to your organization? No. Do we invite black people? No. And they don't know what to say because they expect it to be racist, and it's not. They don't know what to say because they expect you to operate in the confines of the propaganda they set up for you, black, white, and in between. We don't operate like that, and that's scary. That we don't operate as they have programmed us to operate. That means there's a breakdown in the system. That means there's a breakdown in the machine. That's what that means. And they're not going to be able to stop the rest of the breakdown in the machine from happening. They're not going to be able to stop that, especially in the year 2000 and beyond. There's nothing they can do. So that's it. We've come to the end of our broadcast. Join us next Monday. The Monday coming. That'll be the next time we'll be on air at 10 p.m. Bright and early. We'll be here at 10 p.m. next Monday on ⴡⴏRʟᴅ Radio. Catch Sister Sindera on Thursdays at 10 p.m. And, we'll have our Superman, Superwoman project going on at the end of February. The very end of February. Last Sunday, the end of February. And that's basically about it. Now, I'm going to bid you all a farewell. I am going to figure out what it is I want to close with. Oldie but goodie. Good night.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag.